Okay, today I got the Hero 10 Black Bones in the mail today from GoPro. The only place you can buy it is directly through GoPro. And if you're not familiar with what the Hero 10 Black Bones edition is, it's the stripped down FPV purposed Hero 10. So I actually had the Hero 9 Black, which is what I'm using to record this video. When I saw the announcement and surprise, availability of this Hero 10 Black Bones, I jumped on it because, I had the 9 and the 10. It's kind of a nice upgrade, but it wasn't enough for me to, jump ship from the 9 and go to the 10. But this one, being purpose built, designed for FPV flight with that real stripped down, kind of bare bones, get it, design, and only weighing like 60 grams or whatever it is, I had to, because my battery life suffers. I have a lot of work where I need good video quality for my drones. I'm a drone pilot, I have my license, and I'm doing some commercial work. So if I can squeeze out a couple, another minute or two of battery life out of, with this level of recording, I absolutely wanted this thing. So all this video is I'm gonna open it up. Just opened it up in the mail today. It came from UPS. It only took 2 days to arrive, which is pretty sweet. And let's do a quick unboxing here, and I'm gonna weigh it. Got a scale. And I have the drone that I'm gonna hook it up to first. And I actually don't even know if the wire that I already have attached is gonna be compatible or not. So we'll find out if I have to do any soldering or not. All right, so here it is. It's just the GoPro box. A little seal on the bottom, 10. And it looks like just one little label to cut here. First up, we got a quick start guide with a QR code. Set that off to the side. And inside we have the camera. Now what's nice about this, the Bones edition, is it uses the same lens cover or ND filters, whatever you have, as the 9s and the 10s. So there's no stripped down or smaller version of that. So all of the ND filters that I have for my 9 Black will be compatible with this. Same with the Max Lens mod for either the 9 or the 10, it's the same size. So now I have a backup original and then all my ND filters. I'm gonna be keeping my 9 for some non-FPV use as well. Looks like we have a GoPro adapter for the mount. Get this guy out of here. You can already tell it's very light. I mean, this thing is tiny compared to the 9 and the 10 itself, which have the same footprint. I'm not taking much care with that. It's just paper. So here's the unit. This thing is awesome. It has a real solid feel. I like that it says, Bones on the side, along with 10 bones. The 2 buttons on the back, we got power and then the selector, so you can see that. The SD card slot with a micro SD on the side, and then the power connector here in the back. That's it. The 2 buttons, the power connector and the micro SD slot, and then of course your lens attachment. And I see a small hole in the front here, which would be the microphone port. And from what I've read up on this thing, all these little vents are for cooling. So as this thing is flying through the air, it'll get adequately cooled so you can shoot at those high frame rates and high resolutions, 5K 60, 4K 120. And I got my Real Steady license for this that came along with the purchase. I got the GoPro subscription. So I'm gonna go ahead and weigh this. Now I took everything off except for this plastic lens cover, but the film, I'm gonna leave that on. But just weighing this thing in grams right out of the box. Now there's obviously no battery in this because it pulls power directly from the LiPo on the drone to save on weight. So let's see, just the naked weight of this thing. Looks like we're sitting at 59 grams, which I believe is what they advertised. Maybe they said 57. I think they may have said 57, and it is a little extra with the actual lens cover on there. So going through the rest of the box, before we do much else here, let's take the rest of this out. There should be some wiring in here. It looks like this little thing comes out. Yeah, and we got a tiny little screw and nut here that were just kind of loose in there, so be careful if you order one of these things. Don't let that slip out on you. Of course, that will add a little bit of weight if you're going to be using that thing. So, you know, with the screw and the nut, now we're up to 60. And with this little thing, if you're going to use that, now I'm up to 62. I'm planning on using a 3D printed, just a little thing like this I found on Thingiverse. So this guy here, we're up to 64, and I'm probably going to have to use a different screw because of the thread size on the 3D printed mount. But 64 grams, you're probably looking at about 67 grams, all said, if you're using a 3D printed mount, and that is TPU. Here is the connector here for the power. You've got yellow, black, and red, which would need to be soldered directly to the drone to pull power, and you can also control, you know, start-stop recording through your, you know, your radio if you bind that. So I plan on doing that eventually. Hopefully, I'm going to see here if I can get power directly from what I've got. The connector, I don't know if it's the same or not. I'm not as educated with all this stuff. It is not. So I'm going to have to, let's see here. This is the Pavo 30 from Beta FPV, which is what I'm going to be attaching the bones to first. I have a Nebula Pro on here, and I fly with a 4. This is a 4S, and going to mount the bones right here. So it'll look something, let's just take a look at what it'll look like, but I am going to have to get in here and do some soldering. That's going to look something like this. Now, I may end up putting the different mount on, because if you notice that with the TPU mount, the actual sensor of the camera is a little off center for with the drone. So I like to be able to look through my goggle feed in the DVR to get an idea of what the GoPro is recording, and it's ideal if your camera is recording what your, you know, DVR feed is showing, or at least something close. If it's off by about an inch like that, that's going to affect your, you know, your perception of what you're actual framing up. So I may end up experimenting with a different thing. You know, obviously I just got this, so I'm gonna have to find out what works best. But I think that's it for what was in the box. Really not too much. Yeah, the rest is just cardboard. Nothing else. So you've got the quick start guide, the manual, the nut and the screw, the power connector, and then this little mount attachment, and then the camera itself. So just looking at, if I use the other connector, this guy here, and there, that will center up the camera. So it'll look more like this, with the camera lens directly in line with the actual FPV camera down below. So maybe I'll actually do that. I'm not a huge fan of having an off-center action cam. So, not bad. This thing is awesome. Looking forward to getting a look at this, just the final weight here with, if I opt to not use the TPU mount. And that adapter and the screw that I'll be attaching, as well as the nut and the other screw. Final weight looks like 62 grams, so totally not bad. And that is coming off of, man, the original 9 and 10 are like 176 grams, something like that, which is pretty chunky. So not bad. Very stripped down. It's awesome to see GoPro doing something like this. I will definitely be flying with this thing a lot. I would imagine it's going to become my primary camera that I record footage with. I also have, like I said, the 9, but I've also got the DJI Action 2 camera, which it's good, but it has its drawbacks. I'm not going to spend too much time talking about that, but I definitely am happier with GoPro's stabilization and just working with that footage and just how it handles, you know, some freestyle maneuvers and quick rolls and things like that. Rocksteady has kind of let me down in the past with that. So definitely subscribe, and if you want to see some of the footage that this thing captures, I'm not going to include any of that here because I just got it. But if you want to see any of those flights, that'll be uploaded soon, and I hope you enjoyed this. This is awesome. I'm looking forward to getting this thing up in the air. But first, I've got a little bit of soldering to do, and then we'll get her flying.